Now I want to talk to you about the subject of intervals. Well, as we've been playing scales, we've already been playing intervals. The diatonic has whole steps and half steps. There's two whole steps and there's a half. Pentatonic had a minor third, like A minor pentatonic. It's a minor third right there, which is basically 2, 3 half steps. I always have to think about that. It's 3 half steps or 1 whole step and 1 half step, so 1.5 steps. It's a minor third. Okay, you've already been doing those intervals already, so we've already been introduced to intervals, just didn't know it, didn't have the labels, now you do, Google Point. But what I want to teach you is how, basically, I mean, you can look up intervals on your own. Well, I want to show you how to play them and practice them in a musical fashion. And the key is, if you go to a piano keyboard, even if you're not a piano player, and you play only white keys and you skip 1 white note in your intervals and move up and down the fretboard, you're playing thirds, okay? So what's that sound like on a guitar? I'm going to stay within the key. Pick G major because I've been doing that the whole time, but you can do this in any key you want. There's a G note right there, and I'm at the 5th fret, 4th string, by the way, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So there's a B. There's a third, okay? I'm just going to take that third and move it up the fretboard, but each note's going to be sticking within the G major scale. So the low note is going to be doing the do, re, mi, and then that high note is going to do the same thing, but they're going to move together, and that way they're going to stay within the same key, G major, and you're going to hear this. And you know, you can pick it however you want. I can hybrid pick it, I can strum it. You got to be careful when I strum it that I don't bump adjacent strings, or I can mute. So that's how you want to practice intervals. Practice them on all your string pairs, you know. Like you might have heard. Right? I don't know if I'm in the right key, but those are thirds. So they're all over the place. Then do that with fourths, okay? I love fourths. I don't do these a lot with these small string pairs, but I do them with larger chords, like 3-note chords, and they get these cool jazz sounds. They're really sweet. I don't have to know all the complicated names to them. I'm playing the key of G major and sound like a jazz genius, and I'm really just playing what's called quarto voicings. I'm telling you, third intervals are magic. If you play them in diatonic keys, that's the best way to learn them. It's the most musical way to learn them. It's not the only way to play them. But if you're not playing outside the key like jazz does, this is what you'll do the most anyhow. Learn fifths, and you know, a fifth is like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I don't do fifths a ton, but I could. You know, I need to probably do them a little more. If you stack fifths, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I do those all the time. That's really beautiful. As in my lead playing, as an example. And you hear Eric Johnson. I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Think about it. Yeah. You'll hear lines like that in lead guitar work. I just did it backwards. But those are fifths. Sixes. I love sixes. Sixes are also known as inverted thirds. You have to learn your music theory to understand that. But here's I think a 6 would be like 1 from here from G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So watch these. Listen to these in the key of G major. I can't reach that. Right there, okay? I'd probably do like that one instead. These are really cool for building chords. So I'll do like a G bass note. I'm going to teach this in another video I call chord mining. It's really sweet. Good intro to get you into playing chord melody type of playing, you know. Where you can play the bass notes, the melodies, the harmonies all by yourself as a solo guitarist, kind of like Joe Pass style, or Tommy Emmanuel even. But those are intervals, sevenths. Learn all those all over the fretboard, every string pair. I hope you understand. Don't get deceived by the jet tour I'm giving you. I just talked about something that might take you a couple years of practice if you practice, put a lot of time into it. Okay. So that's the beauty of this whole idea for the Jet Tour instruction. I can speak to you in about 5 minutes on a subject that might take months, even years to practice. And it might take hours or weeks for you to understand if you need to stop the video and find out more information. But that's the beauty of this whole idea of Jet Tour. All right, that's intervals, okay? So since scales, intervals, and arpeggios, right? So arpeggios is the last deal for lead guitar, and that basically, an arpeggio is when we take a chord and we break the notes apart. Except I'm playing it in a rhythm context, so all the notes are bleeding together. What if I don't make the notes bleed together? Okay, and then what if I always play the notes stair step, 1 3 5 1 3 5 1 3 5? Because some guitar chords, like this A-shaped bar chord, is 1 5 1 5 or 1 3. I want to always go in order, not skip a number. 1 3 5 1 3 5. So that might look like 1 3. I got to stretch 5 1 3 5 or 1 3. I can do. See, there's more than one way to do the 3. 5 1 3 5 1 3 5. Look at all these licks I just got out of one little arpeggio C major thing, just covering 2 octaves. Right? Whoops. Right? And that's just ascending. I learn them backwards. Okay? So hours of practice. Arpeggios, you want to learn your major, minor, whoops, diminished, whoops. I keep wanting to hit that G note. Anyhow, I normally play these as diminished 7. And augmented. Did I play that right? There. I don't do those as much. Then get into dominant 7ths, major 7ths, and minor 7ths. Major 7th sounds like C major 7. Dominant 7. Again, if you don't know these, stop the video, Google them, find tab. Tabs are your best friend because they're visuals. You want pictures, not just text. Minor 7. I love that minor 7 arpeggio. I gotta say something special about that one. Let me use the key of A minor as an example. Okay, and my fingering is even interesting here because you're seeing me stretch. Let me slow it down more. The minor, an A minor 7 arpeggio is the same as a C major 6 arpeggio. I'm getting into music theory and the concept of relative minor. Another Google point if you don't know it. A minor chord key and C major key are the same. A minor scale, C major scale are the same. The A minor 7 arpeggio is the same as a C major 6 arpeggio because the A minor chord, A minor 7 chord I should say, is the same as a C major 6 chord. They're the same thing. Voiced differently sometimes, but the that particular arpeggio should sound very similar to a minor pentatonic scale. That's minor pentatonic, minor 7 arpeggio. Hear how similar they sound? It's a really cool scale to jam over. A minor 7 and C major 6 arpeggios I would blast away at. This also introduces me to the concept with you guys that you don't have to learn all of your arpeggios like you want to learn all those chords. Like when you get into the bigger arpeggios derived from the bigger chords, the ones that transcend the octave, that get into that cross over 8 and get you into 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths, those are going to sound very much like scales. So if you're really creative with scales, you already play those arpeggios anyhow. Like when I did that little thing at scale sequences and I skipped every other note. I did it wrong with the descending, I won't even try. That's like a major 11 dominant I was actually the dominant 13 arpeggio, I believe. So, my dogs. Anyhow, that's a dominant 13 arpeggio, and I'm just skipping notes. So you don't have to take arpeggios to the point of insanity, but as they get bigger, they start to look more like scales, all right? So that's something to keep in mind with them. A lot of melodies in arpeggios. So keep that in mind as well. So learn these all over the fretboard. Use a cage system. That's really it, guys. There's one little thing I want to talk about with pentatonic scale really quick, because you saw me do it in the minor 7 arpeggio. Learn to play like this minor pentatonic. Get up close. Watch this one. I'm going to play that D note here, okay? And then I'll repeat that D note, same pitch, okay? I'm playing 3 notes of string, pentatonic. This is a big secret to my playing, by the way. This is my lead playing. I know it's a stretch. It'll be really hard to do low. Get your thumb lower behind the neck. It'll help you. Get your hand around, and you can do the stretch better even with little or smaller hands. Diatonic scales, try to do 4 notes of string instead of 3 note. I've taken the B major, by the way. I'd been doing G major the whole time, but I wanted to do it higher at the fretboard because it's really difficult low. And I'll play licks like, I'll stay in the key of B major because you're probably hearing it now. I'll do licks like this. So I can hammer on pull off with that. So learn how to do the diatonics 4 notes of string and the pentatonics 3 notes of string, and it'll really extend you. Even though you're repeating a pitch and that might sound inefficient, it's great muscle memory, and you'll find ways to use it like you just heard me using it. That's everything. That's my brain dump on guitar. It's my jet tour on guitar, and please check out my website, www.gregjonesmusic.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I plan on adding more instructional videos like this, including something on music theory and technique on the guitar. There's so many techniques. So check out my website, gregjonesmusic.com. Did I already say that? Maybe I did. I'm going insane. Thank you for watching. Take care.